Hola, hola. This is Sadie Calamaco, your host of Business Building Blitz. Discover how to create a successful business, even if you only have 1 hour a day. And today, I have a friend from Australia. He is the Pitbull lookalike. All right.
I love it.
Adrian, I want to make sure I say your last name correctly. D'Amico.
Yep. Close enough.
Oh,
D'Amico.
D'Amico.
Yeah.
I try to throw my little Spanish accent in there,
Yeah, that's all right. You did well.
He is the owner of Social Media Breakthrough for Business. He is experienced in sales, helping business owners navigate through social media and generate leads. He's a speaker, a trainer, a coach, an amazing father, and a husband. And the reason I picked Adrian is that he has a no-holds-barred when it comes to teaching. I came across one of his videos, and it was just inspiring that it was about okay to fail. And I'm going to be asking a question about that in a little while. But I love his approach to business. It's not holding back. It's straight in your face. Take it and be a grown-up about it. And that's why I had to have him on this show, because he's bringing it to you real. He's going to give it to you raw. And sometimes we need that. So, Adrian, welcome to the summit. I appreciate you being here.
Sadie, thank you so much for having me. This is a tremendous thing that we're doing at the moment, because you must be experiencing some warm weather where you are. And then we're just coming into our winter here in Australia. So I've got the coat on and the long pants and trying to stay as warm as possible, where you've probably got, shorts and t-shirt and, getting all the summer gear out, because it must be heating up where you are. And you're actually going forward in time. So we're time warping at the moment, see?
Oh, that's true, right?
What day is it there where you are?
We are, what day?
Monday?
Today is Monday, yes, Monday.
Monday night?
Monday night, yes.
Okay, so you're forward in time to Tuesday afternoon in Australia here. So how cool is this?
That is way cool. I didn't even think about that. Talk about time warp, right?
I know, yeah. And they thought time travel wasn't possible, and here we are doing it way ahead of our time.
That's amazing. I love that. I'm going to have to maul on that tonight. I'm like, how is that possible? But
yeah, exactly.
I know that you're a dad and you are a busy man, so I want to make sure that we get to the point and that value that I know that you have, that you'll share that with the audience today. So
awesome.
Let's go with our first question. What is the difference between dreams and goals?
Yeah, that's a great question. See, I think to me, there's no real difference. They're one and the same. They kind of really blend in my own personal viewpoint and my own personal life. So, if you were to ask me, how do I explain the difference between dreams and goals? Dreams would be something that you aspire to, that you think about, that constantly occupies your thoughts, that makes you, get up at 2 a.m. and start writing notes. That burning desire, that inner feeling that is always within you, that you want to have something to achieve. Goals might be something that's more narrow-sighted or near-sighted, where you might say, I've got a goal to go to the gym today. I've got a goal to lose 1 kilo or 10 pounds or whatever it may be. So that could be the definition difference, if you want to put it that way. But to me, my goals and dreams kind of clash, as in they mash together, really, really well. My goal of being, a great father, and my goal of being a great husband, my goal of being a great businessman, my goal of being, a leader and a thought leader, and inspire, a coach. I mean, they're all part of my dreams too. They kind of mash together pretty well together in my eyes. So it's hard for me to distinguish between the two. If that answers your question.
Oh, it does, because, and that's one of the reasons I like you, right, is that you kind of keep it real, where I've heard so many leaders out there say dreams is one thing and goals are another. It's two complete different identities, but I love what you say, that it's a mesh. It kind of goes together and gets you to where you need to go. And that's amazing. Now, how can someone establish core values? I kind of heard some of your stuff one day about core values in business. Do you want to expound on that a little?
Sure. Look, this values is something that I've been doing a lot of work on lately with myself and with my clients. And I just think that we live in a society that really looks up to other people, that really has set a standard. And when I say they have set a standard or society, it's the they. Like, you know, like who the fuck are they? I don't know who they are. I don't know where they live. But they say, you know, we should achieve all these things, and we should try and get, you know, the great American dream or the great Australian dream. You know, buy your own house, get a good job, do all these things. So what I think we have a habit of doing is forming values and beliefs around what they say is the standard that we should live up to. And then we also have a way of inheriting values and beliefs from the people that we love the most, which is generally mum and dad that we've grown up with, or a certain close relative that raised us. And if they believed that money was the root of all evil, then we would generally grow up believing that money was the root of all evil. If they valued spending their time watching the news, reading the paper, just doing things for themselves, that would be the things that we would value. And we would inherit those as a way, in a sense. So for me, what I've come to realize is that over the years, I have had values and beliefs that I borrowed, that I inherited from someone else. They weren't really my true values. And when I started to think about what I valued most, well, I valued connection, you know, I valued love, I valued time freedom, I valued making a difference, I valued contribution, I valued having choices, I valued doing my own thing, I valued being an individual. And when I think about those things, they really conflict with a lot of the ways that I grew up, as in, I didn't want to be different when I was younger. I wanted to be the same as everyone else. I didn't celebrate my uniqueness. I didn't celebrate my differences. I felt ostracized when I was an outcast when I was younger. Looking back in retrospect, I was always a little different, you know, to put it lightly. It was like I was always just a little bit different than the other people or the other kids, or I thought differently, I acted differently, I bucked against the trend, I never followed rules. You know, I rarely stayed within the lines, and that is now my greatest strength. But it was never brought to my attention when I was younger that that was actually my greatest strength, was the value of being different, the value of being my own individual person, you know, and following the things that I wanted to do and not what they said to do. So what was the original question? How do we find values?
Yes.
Or how do we know what we value? I would say in two parts, there's a way to discover what you truly value the most. I would look at the things that you think about and the things that make you light up, that make you come alive, that make you really feel empowered, that really make your heart sing, that really makes time stand still. And then when you dissect, why are you feeling the way that you're feeling towards that person, that situation, that type of work, whatever that may be. And there is a value that's hidden within there. So for example, when I think about my time with my children and with my wife, so I love the fact that I've got 3 boys, and we can spend so much time together. I get to relive my youth. I get to ride skateboards and scooters again, and, you know, go to the park and all that kind of stuff, and watch Shrek a million times. You know, I get to watch DVDs and cartoons. So when I think about what I value the most out of that, is I value the deep connection. I value looking into my kids' eyes. I value listening to their stories. I value hugging them and kissing them. I value the energy that we have together. I value the connection. So connection with my wife and with my kids is a very, very high core value of mine. Right? When I think about it from a business standpoint, it's like I value having automated wealth. I value having the ability to go overseas and work from another country. I value And I'm not saying that I've done these things, but these are the things that I aspire, that I get a lot of like real deep sense of connection with again, you know. So I'm like, I value all of those things, but what's the true value, the representation of being financially free? Well, it's time freedom. You know, I value time freedom. I value choices. I value doing whatever the fuck I want, whenever the hell I want it. I value having my own way, you know, not being sort of, you know, selfish, but in a way that I don't need to conform to the normal thing that people say you should do. So that's the things that I value. When I think about how I help my clients within their businesses, how I generate income for them, how I teach them online strategies, how I give back to the community, how I raise funds for homeless people, how I donate clothing and things like that. Well, that's my contribution. I value contribution. I value making a difference. I value being a needle mover. I value being the person who leaves this earth better than I found it. You know, it's kind of like I want to make something of myself that people come to my funeral and kind of go, man, that guy left nothing on the table. Like that guy just did his thing, win, lose or draw. He just had a red hot go, and he gave it a massive crack. And I want people to admire and respect and model that and take that away and go, you know what? I'm never going to waste a fucking moment doing shit that I don't like. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do what makes me sing. You know, I'm going to do the things that really, really juice me and give me the aliveness. You know, they add value to my life. They don't sap it away. And I think a lot of us do too much in our lives where we're losing energy. We're allowing people to sap our lives and drain us for all that we have. And we just don't have to do it. I just think in this day and age, there's no real valid reason in my mind why we should ever do that. So that to me is how you establish, you know, your core values. It's what you love to do and why you love to do the things that you do.
I love that. Aliveness, add value to my life. You know, that's what that passion, that those goals, everything kind of meshes together where you add those core values that are your own. You know, when you become that adult, when you become that business owner, you decide, you know what, this is what I stand for. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is what you say makes me move the needle. I like that. You know, it makes me move the needle. That's what's going to drive me to be unique and allow my uniqueness to come out.
It gives you purpose. It gives you a reason to move forward. And I think when people start to feel lost, they're generally living up to someone else's values. That's why they feel inauthentic and they feel that they don't belong, or they're just doing something because everyone else says that that's what you should do. You know, it's the whole go to school, get good grades, get a good job, buy a house, raise a family, fucking die. Like, it's just what else is there, you know? That seems to be your life's progression, and that ain't for me. You know, there's certain parts I can't control. There's a lot that I can.
Yeah, definitely. There is things that we can control. I remember something else. You know, I don't mean to be a stalker of your online identity, but I kind of am. Okay. You know, you mentioned about the grind and hustle that's everywhere on social media, and that's one of like a pet peeve of yours in a way, right?
Yeah, I used to love the word grind and hustle, but now I detest it. I hate it.
And why is that?
It just seems like a lot of hard work, and I love working. I love creating. I love achieving. But I don't really like anything that I have to work super hard at. It sounds a little bit contradictory and a little bit back to front, but you know, when you truly align yourself with the things that you love to do, it doesn't seem all that hard of work. It just seems like you're doing cool shit all the time. So, I mean, there's certain components that may not be that great, but for the most part, whatever the outcome is going forward, I can't predict the future, but I'm doing things now that just require zero effort on my behalf. So that's one of the reasons why I hate the word hustle and grind. The reason is that I think people seem to wear a badge of honor if they've worked 100 hours a week. So when I see people say it's 10:30 at night and I'm just getting home, it was a hard day at the office, and this is what I've done. If they're single, if they're a single guy or girl, and that's what they choose to do, well then fine. That's what you choose to do. But hey, look, if you're married and your kids are at home and they've gone to dinner without you, they've had no bedtime stories, you haven't tucked them in, you haven't given them a kiss goodnight, and they haven't seen you, well, to me, like, you're a fucking idiot. You got no idea. You don't know what hustle, like, your hustle is costing you so much that you don't realize just what the grind and the hustle is costing you. And it's not in dollars. It's not in anything that can be measured monetarily. It's all of that. It's all the good stuff. It's all the stuff that you can't buy back. It's all the stuff that you can never get again. It's all the stuff that once it's gone, that opportunity will never ever come back. And to me, that's more valuable than anything on this earth. So when I hear of people hustling and grinding their face off and doing stupid shit like that, and I know that they've got families, I just shake my head. I pity them. They're living their dream according to someone else's values. They're going to climb the ladder of success to the very top rung, and they're going to realize that it's leaning against the wrong fucking wall.
Right. And then later on, they're like, oh, I wish I didn't do that.
It's too late.
Then it's too late because, I love what you said about you're grinding and hustling so much to live somebody else's dream that you miss giving your child that kiss goodnight, that, hey, how was your school today? What was the best part? And do we really want to hustle and grind to that point where we miss their childhood, and then they're adults, and then they don't want to talk to us because, oh, you know what? You were grinding so much. There's a song about the cats in the cradle. That totally reminds me of that. The dad was grinding, right? He was grinding and hustling, and now, oh, hey, son, do you want to talk? No, because I'm doing the same thing you're doing.
Exactly. And you took the words out of my mouth. So I would have definitely, my next comment would have been, all we're doing is creating and producing more grinders, more hustlers, which causes more disconnection, which causes everyone to just fend for themselves and do whatever they want because of their own agendas. And then the world just, capitulates and implodes. It's a recipe for disaster. Purpose, passion, meaning, connection, they're all the good bits that I think a lot of people are missing.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing that you talk about quite often in your pages, it's about purpose and aligning your goals with your passion and purpose. Definitely, is there steps that you take your clients through or that you can share on how to align your goals with passion and purpose?
Yeah, I do, and I think it goes a long way to what I've already spoken about, in the sense of the things that make you light up. So when I use it in a business sense, in an entrepreneurial sense, but this can be applied to any area of your life. I definitely want to make a disclaimer that I'm certainly not a master of this, because my history is that I've ran businesses for many years, which I thought I was kind of passionate about, but then realized downstream that it wasn't exactly what I thought it would be, and it did cost me a lot of time and energy and money and all of those good bits that I mentioned before. So you can find values in what you do and connect your passion with your values in any aspect of your life, whether it be relationships, whether it be a hobby, whether it be a sport, or whether it be your career or your business. So when I think about it in terms of business, I find that people have certain innate qualities that if I speak from my own personal experience, it's the ability to create. It's the ability to articulate. It's the ability to make something out of nothing, to find like I guess a gap where there's something missing and I can make a little opportunity out of this. So one of the things that I guess created in my own life is the opportunity that, say, sometimes in my own business, I may not see any faults within the business, or I may not recognize them as quickly as I possibly can, because it's kind of hard to read the label from the inside of the bottle. But I've always had this ability that when someone would come and ask me for advice, no matter what it was, in an instant, I would recognize exactly what was missing, what they needed to do to fix it, and how they should go about it. So my ability to see the differences in the gaps is something that I am, like, that's in me. That's just something that is like in me, and all I've done is just hone that skill and harness that skill. And so now it's one of my greatest strengths. If you liken it to different facets of relationships, or you know, any sort of interaction with someone, it'd be like the analogy of 10-pin bowling, where you throw the ball down the alley, you hit 8, and then the person turns around and says you missed 2. So in, like, say, a parenting perspective, having that quality can be a difficult thing. It can be a negative, because you never applaud, you know, I guess applauding little Johnny for all the great things that he did. You're always focusing on the things that he missed, and so therefore he feels like he's never enough. But in business, this is a strength of mine. So I've been able to ascertain where businesses are going wrong. I can see gaps, I can fill them, I can create money out of nothing where they themselves just couldn't see it. So if I bring this around to aligning your goals with your passion and your purpose, is I've just found a way that I can use that value, that passion, that skill set, and direct it to something that I am really passionate about, which is creating wealth, which is creating, in general, marketing, social media. It's helping businesses, it's helping people, and all of that kind of gels into my deepest core values. So when I go through exercises with my clients, I kind of say, what do you value the most? And they generally ramble off all the typical, just everyday things: honesty, integrity, you know, love, and just all the feel good shit, right? But then when I go into the things that they actually would say value, if they, for example, if you valued creativity, or if you valued spontaneity, or you valued laughter, then I might say, well, okay, if you could have creativity without spontaneity, or spontaneity without creativity, which one would you choose? Then they might go, oh, okay, well, I choose creativity. Okay, so if you could have another value in there, what else would it be? Well, you know, I value, say, wealth creation, or I value time freedom. Okay, so if you had time freedom without wealth creation, but you had creativity, or if you had time freedom, you know, without creativity, but you had the wealth creation, which would you choose? Which would you leave out? And then it kind of forms this hierarchy of what's more important to me, or what's more important to the client. So I kind of do this whole, you know, process, and I actually learned this in a relationship course, right? So this is something where you say, you know, what do you value? I value fun, I value spontaneity, I value, you know, intimacy, and I value love. You know, okay, well, if you could have love without intimacy, which one would you choose? There's and it's no right or wrong answer. So if someone says, well, I value intimacy, well, the intimacy value is higher on your list. You know, if I could have laughter without love, which one would you choose? But I've got intimacy, I would have love. Okay, so love is higher than laughter. And then we just go through the sequencing of what you value the most, and you end up with your deepest, corest, highest values. Look, cool. It's almost a complete workshop, but, you know, for the purpose of this question, I could just go on forever. But, you know, I would say that people know what they're like. I can see it in my children. You know, I can see one likes to sing, one likes to dance, you know, one likes to talk in terms of like numbers, you know. So my eldest son will say, Dad, you know what, there's 3 things that I really love about monster trucks, and it's this: 1, 2, 3, and he goes through all the things. And then he'll mention statistical information, he'll mention facts and all that kind of stuff. So I can see where his head's at. You know, I can see exactly what type of personality he is. Whereas my middle son will kind of say things that are more intuitive. You know, he'll sing, he'll dance, he'll sort of do twirls and, you know, all sorts of stuff. So I can see that there's a little character trait there. And then with my youngest one, you know, he's I haven't quite figured him out just as yet, but because he's only 5, you know, but he'll sort of say things that are more connection. You know, when I hug him, I feel an energy straight away, like something is vibrating. So he pulses at a different rate. You know, he watches, he observes, and he sits back, and not much really affects him. So it'll be interesting to see how he grows. But the reason why I bring that up is that you would be able to reflect when you were a child and the things that you love to do. You know, and I think today's day and age is a world of, you know, particularly say for females, they might really find it hard to compete in this sort of, they call it the man's world, you know. It's so females are becoming more masculine. They're becoming more dominating in their careers. They're becoming harder, firmer. You know, to me, they're kind of losing a lot of their softness and you know, yeah, I won't go too deep into that. I'll probably, you know, have a few boos here and there, but that's just my opinion. I understand you're goal driven. I understand that you have a career driven, and women can do anything and more that men can do. That's my firm belief. However, again, this leads more towards standards. It leads more towards what society is saying is what we should, you know, what we should do. But I would say to you that if you were like that, then you look back at your childhood and you like ballerinas and you like Barbie dolls and you like dressing up and wearing mum's lipstick and all those kinds of things, well then innately within you, you're softer, you're kinder, you're girly, you're more feminine. Like where did that go? So in a very long-winded way, you know, when you were connecting goals, passion and purpose, I would go back to my childhood. I would go back to how I was when I was younger. And for me, it's very, very simple. It's drawing, it's writing songs, it's singing, it's playing music, you know, it's dancing. Like there's a lot of creativity in there. You know, there's a lot of vision. There's a lot of thinking into the future. Mom, you know, when I grow up, I'm going to get you a Ferrari and I'm going to get you a house and I'm going to get you this, and like, you know, all of those things. I can remember that like it was yesterday.
Now, it's important that we don't lose, because we do. When we get older, you know, we've gone through challenges and hurts that create those walls of hardness, you know, but to pull those layers back, because that's kind of what you do in your business. You are able to, you know, you say that you are able to see the gaps, but you're able to pull back those layers and say, let's look at these values, let's look at these goals, let's look at these passions, and discover really who you are as an authentic person that identifies with your childhood. You know, if I think about it on my standpoint, just listening to you, I was always a protector of people. You know, I would, anybody who would get into being bullied or whatever, I guess that wasn't even bullying at that time, but I would go beat them up. I would go and be like, hey, they can't stand up for themselves, so I'll stand up for them. And I realize now, people ask me, Sadie, what do you do? I'm a helper of people. Whatever it is, I'll help you. You know, but that was truly my passion. When I finally identified myself, I'm like, you know what? I love helping people. That's it. I like seeing people succeed. And that's you finding the gaps, you know, and helping people identify their passions by pulling the layers back. I think that's so important. And we need more people like you to help them get to that place. So, and a little side note. That's awesome that you're able to notice your kids and how they communicate. You know, that's cool that your son, one's in numbers and one's more artistic and the other one is more of an observer. I'm going to have to pay attention to my kids a little more. Now that you brought that up, you know, you don't know what you don't know. Now I'm like, hey, how?
It's very cool. It's very cool to sit back. And when you do, if let me know when it happens, because a big smile will come across, you know, from ear to ear, and you'd be like, I get it.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
Like, that's what Adrian was talking about, right?
Your parenting will change. Yeah.
For real. So another amazing video. And my audience are going to be like, Sadie, you really stalked this guy. Yes, I did. I totally did. You were talking about the importance of failure. No.
Yeah, actually, that was the interview that I did with Kerwin Ray, who's a tremendous coach here in Australia. And he talks to failure being a necessary, it's a necessary evil, you know, it's a necessary part of success, because you know, without failures, we don't learn lessons. We don't learn what not to do. We don't learn new ways of doing things. So, you know, that's one aspect. The other aspect is that failure is inevitable. It's, yeah, at some point in time, you are going to mess up. You know, things are not going to turn out exactly the way you want it. Uh, and I think that we've looked at failure as a really, really bad thing growing up. In school, it was always bad. It was never good enough. It was always that, you know, I knocked down 8 pins, yeah, but you missed 2, you know, and then it'd be that feeling of, geez, well, if it's not 100%, then it's just not good. So the importance of failure is knowing that if you had a new label towards failure, one of the things, have you ever read a book called A Course in Miracles?
No. I'll write that down.
You write it down. It's fresh on my mind because my friend and a client and friend, a good friend of mine, bought it for me. And it's one of the things that I've learned, one of the lessons of today is that when you look at something, it's reminds you of the past. You're looking into the past. So the reason is that you're only labeling this conversation or Adrian as Adrian because you've already learned in the past that face has got a name and it's called Adrian. Right? And so when we look at things, we've looked at it from past judgment, from past experiences. And one of the other lessons is to give things new meanings and new labels. And I think what Kerwin Ray talks about in that little snippet that you talked about, which is called The Importance of Failure, is like failure is fun to him. Failure is learning. Failure is, I'm on the brink of something new. I'm on the verge of a breakthrough when I fail. And so now he's like, failure's fun, man. Like, you know, I walk around, stub my toe, kick my shin, you know, bump my head, and I do that all the time. And I know that, right, this is a learning moment. This is something that I can break through now. I can move forward. And thank God that I failed so soon. Otherwise, I could have been fucking around for this for years. But now I failed so quickly, and now I know exactly what not to do. So it's like, thank you, failure. And
right.
Yeah, and so when you say it, it's like, man, this is the bizarrest thing in the world. Thank you, failure. What are you talking about? You know, in a business sense, it's definitely a blessing. It's definitely something that when you look at it with new eyes, it really is empowering. And if you change and you adapt and you learn the lessons, that's growth. And growth, if we go back to values, growth is again one of my highest values. It's growing. It's always learning. It's always building. It's always improving. That's a super huge value of mine. And I think a lot of people would probably dig deep and say, you know what, if I'm not growing, I'm not feeling that good either. I don't feel like I'm contributing. I don't feel like I'm moving forward. So growth is a huge thing. You can only grow if you fall over and, you know, scrape your knee and you know, graze your elbow every now and then. That's the only way we learned to ride a bike. That's the only way we learned to walk. That's the only way, you know, we learned to talk. It's just, we were never crucified when we were younger for doing that. It's just that when we got into the schooling system, we got into the work system, all of a sudden doing bad things or doing something wrong is terrible. It's consequences. It's bad. So therefore, when we feel like we don't want to do anything outlandish, we don't want to do anything that's like maybe a little bit beyond us, just in case we fail, then it causes us to settle and to retreat and to just kind of, you know, fall back and be safe. You know, so Kerwin Ray says, you know, most people are tiptoeing their way to death safely. So, you know, it's so true, right? You know, we're just so afraid to fail that we're tiptoeing to death safely. When I think about that comment, like, that's a writer downer. I wrote that down. I thought about it. I meditated on it. I think about it all the time, and I just don't want to be. I don't want to be left on my rocking chair, wondering with regret about the things that I didn't do. So for the sake of a little bit of an embarrassment, or for a few bruises and cuts and things like that, in the world of business, like, what's the worst that can happen? We're not base jumpers, or we're not dealing with explosives. Most of us, like, we're not doing anything that we're gonna lose limbs and die instantly if we do it. We're talking about business and online marketing. No one's gonna fucking die from that.
Right.
Like, I haven't heard of anyone dying from online marketing so far. So it's kind of like, I think I've got a good chance of surviving this.
I just find it funny. It's like, because it's something I never thought about. Like, am I going to die from online marketing? No, that it's
good chance to get through it.
Yeah, you'll get through it. But hearing about giving failure a new label, that a society labels everything. If you are not this, you're this. If it's not this, it's that. And how easy for us to be like, did you ever play this as a kid? No means yes, and yes means no. Did you ever play that?
I'm going to say no, but I don't mean yes. I actually mean no.
But it's exactly that, right? We can take the label off of failure being bad and make it good.
Yeah,
and like
absolutely.
You said, thank you, failure. Thank you. Now I'm one step closer. We're not doing that same mistake next time.
Yeah, and thanks for happening so quickly too, because I could have been wasting a lot of time and money with this, So thank God my business failed so soon. Now I know exactly what to do.
Exactly. I know that you have kids to pick up because you're an awesome dad.
Yeah.
So we'll end up with this question. With what you know now, how would you build your business in 1 hour a day?
Oh, that's a great question. So I would build my business simply by focusing on the things that matter most. So what we can suffer from, and I definitely suffer from this a lot, is distractions. I suffer from shiny objectitis. So, if there's a new something that will go off and distract me, generally I'm onto it. So what I'm learning to do more and more every day is just to focus on the big rocks, focus on the things that are actually going to make me money today. So the first things first is to say to yourself, what am I doing now? Is it something that's actually going to be making me money and moving me forward within my business? So for me, if I'm not creating ad copy, if I'm not producing a video and making ads and helping clients, then I'm not making any money. So I have to do those 3 or 4 things every single day. I would, in terms of a sort of utilitarian or practical thing, I would focus on where the attention is. And the attention is on Facebook. In Australia, we're sitting around 16 million users. Now, Australia has 24.5 million people in the entire country. So nearly 70% of the population are on one platform alone. Globally, you're something like 1.6, 1.7 billion people. And I would say that it would be the dominant marketing medium in the USA as well.
Right.
So from a marketing perspective, I think that there is a lot of offline methods that do work well. So face-to-face, to me, if you're not selling, say, products, for example, which I'm not, I'm selling services, then the belly-to-belly, eyeball-to-eyeball, face-to-face meetings is where I do the most damage. And when I say the most damage, is that's the biggest interaction, that's the most rewarding for me, that's where I can really make the biggest impact. So I utilize social media, and when I say social media, I mean mainly Facebook, because I know that all the attention is there all of the time. Typically from an Australian viewpoint, and I don't think it'd be too dissimilar around the world, is that we look at our phones about 14 to 15 times a day. We generally scroll our news feed for about 15 minutes, and we scroll back in time, chronologically, for about 2 hours. So knowing that, I know that there's a lot of people that are online all the time using that medium. And because they're so addicted to it, I just make sure that I am in their face all of the time, which is why I constantly promote. I constantly post, several times per day, but I'm always running a promotion. the last thing that I would say is know the difference between marketing, lead generation, and branding. So what a lot of businesses, in particular small businesses, do is they look at the bigger businesses of the world who mainly do branding. So when you think about Coca-Cola, when you think about McDonald's, when you think about Pepsi, when you think about Nike, they pretty much do brand awareness type of ads. Whereas they can do that because they're such a juggernaut of businesses. They've got the money to finance all of that. They can be on every billboard, every radio, every TV, every letterbox drop, every social media platform, and they can do it all day long. But we can't do that. We are not big business. We're small or medium business. So what we have to do is focus on lead generation, data acquisition. We need to focus on the things that actually put us in front of, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball with a seller, with a buyer. Like, we need to make sure that we are doing business with people all the time. So yes, there's great ways that we can do that, and particularly through social media, because the data is so incredibly tight in terms of who your perfect customer is, where they live, what they're interested in, how many kids they have, what income they earn, what are they interested, like behaviors, all sorts of stuff. There's so much information at hand. It's like, man, it's beyond Big Brother type stuff. This is massive in terms of marketing. So I would be focusing on the things that actually generate income. Definitely add some branding, some top of mind type of things. But I would see how you can help people in your marketplace by adding value to their lives. And then at the same time, you do what's called permission-based marketing. They can give you their name and their email and opt into some sort of content piece that you can offer them, or download a book or whatever it might be. And then that way they're getting something of value and you're getting something of value. And then we've got a win-win relationship together. I'll probably add in one more, and that is video is the way of the world. If you're not on video, you're missing the boat, and you'll miss the boat entirely. All it's going to take is someone within your area, your niche, your competition, to start to harness video, and before long, not too long, you'll be a distant second in the marketplace because you just won't be able to catch up. So I would embrace video wholeheartedly. If you don't want to be in front of the camera because you hate the sound of your voice and the way that you look, then that's fine. Do ScreenFlow presentations, do something that's audio, get a podcast going, or whatever it may be, but do something where people can be listening to you, watching you, getting to know you, like you, trust you, get a feeling for who you are, what you do, what you represent. And I guarantee you that it will just drive so much business and goodwill your way that you won't be able to stop your flow of leads in the next few years.
And that's for sure. I mean, when you really get out of yourself and realize, like you said, about providing that value, add value, that when we decide, you know what, it's about the value and it's not about me and how I look, because I know I struggled with that. I'm like, they're gonna notice my pimple, or they're gonna notice this, and it's not about me. It's about them getting the value and the information that you're good at, about that passion that's within, that you talked about earlier, and the goals and just aligning everything up together. So you have a free gift to share with our audience.
I do. I'm so glad you reminded me, actually. What I'll do is I run a group which is called the Empower You Academy, and it's a mastermind coaching group. It's got a little bit of self-help, a little bit of direction in there, but it's predominantly marketing. It's actually nitty-gritty know-how type of stuff that I run for people online, and in my hometown, I run a 2-hour event each month in room, and then I record that module and upload it to the membership. So the membership is at $197 a month, but for you guys, I'm going to give you a 30-day access to the membership. Currently about to record module 9. Module 10 is ready to go out. So there's 8 and soon to be 9 modules already up there. You'll see the transcriptions. You'll see some of the live footage from the events that I've done. But it's all like how-to stuff. It's all on the dials, video marketing, Facebook ads, lead generation, landing pages, like the whole box and dice, resources and all that kind of stuff. So I'll share the link with you, and they can just jump in and grab a 30-day free trial there, if that's cool with you.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very generous. Like, wow, very, very, very generous, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So, Adrian, if I can ever do anything for you, please let me know. I just want to extend my gratitude for all the value that you just added to the audience, and I'm just thankful and grateful, and I'll still be stalking you. That's the beauty of it. Right? You don't even realize.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Look, this is just an absolute trip for me, and I honestly do feel grateful and appreciative. I love connecting like this, and this is just the magic of the internet now. You know, we're forming relationships from, you know, millions of miles away, and we're even going, you know, forward and backward in time. So, you know, this is just tremendous. So thank you so much, and I hope whatever I've shared today impacts your audience in some way.
Well, I believe so. It impacted me, and I have quite a bit of notes. So thank you. With that,
Pleasure.
families and friends, I just want to say thank you for hanging out with us. Do invite a friend. Be in tune for tomorrow. As Adrian brought so much value, our next speaker will as well. Until next time, ciao, bis später, auf Wiedersehen. Do you have a special way to say bye, Adrian?
It's just bye from me from Australia. See you later.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.